Hello, Oboists. My name is Brian Seaton, and I play oboe with the Savannah Philharmonic Orchestra. And today we're going to talk about the all-district band audition for the state of Georgia. This is for the concert band, and we've got this nice little etude here, this melodic etude in C major. And we're gonna talk about how to make this sound as beautiful as we can, and some of the pitfalls for you to work on. As always, try to learn things correctly in the beginning of your practicing so we don't have to correct problems in the end. Learn it correctly, and then we don't have to fix bad habits as we move along. Let's begin. So we're in 3/4 time here. We've got 3 beats to the bar, and we're in the key of C major. And this is a melodic etude, so we always want to think about making a beautiful tone. If we start with a beautiful tone and we end with a beautiful tone, we're more likely to have that beautiful oboe sound in the middle as well. So we start off mezzo forte, so not too loud, not too soft, just a very nice, comfortable dynamic. Try to hear that C natural before you start. Don't be surprised by the sound of that first note. Hear the dynamic in your head. Take in a nice big breath. Have an O or ah feel in where your throat meets your jaw. Have this nice and relaxed. And we see here, starting in the 3rd bar and the 4th bar, we have this symbol, which means crescendo, or to get louder. Now, how do we get louder on the oboe? It's actually really fun. What we do is we increase the amount of air that we're getting into the reed. We're trying to blow that reed open. So we increase the amount of air, but we don't think about pushing it too hard. Instead, you release your embouchure a little bit. Relax this so that reed can take on more air and get bigger, and that's how the oboe gets louder. When we're making a diminuendo, it's the opposite. We decrease the amount of air, but we increase the air speed, and then we engage the reed with the embouchure. With the corners of our lips, like you're saying, ooh, ooh. When you say that, ooh, the corners of your lips are tight, but it's very soft here in the middle. So when we're playing soft, we're physically pinching that reed open with our lips so that that tiny amount of very fast air can get into the reed and set up the beautiful sound. To get louder, we increase the amount of air and we open up the reed, we open up the embouchure. Okay? Now, let's talk about these grace notes. These grace notes are in bar 1, 2, 3, 4, bar 5 and bar 7, and these are the little printed notes before the 3rd beat. They don't have a real precise rhythmic value, but in a melodic etude, we think of them as an ornamentation, a decoration, if you will. They come from the previous beat. So what happens on the 3rd beat, the printed G, this is in bar 1, 2, 3, 4, bar 5, we play that G is going to be on the 3rd beat if you have your metronome on. The grace notes rhythmically come from the 2nd beat, and it's the same thing 2 bars later. So we have to borrow some time from the 2nd beat, play the grace notes, and then so our 3rd beat lands right where it should. Okay, just like that. And don't try to play them too fast. They're maybe a little faster than the 16th notes, but try to pretend like there's a syllable in each one, as if you could almost sing a word on those grace notes. do those, when we do it like that, we can make them part of this beautiful melody. And we don't want them to stick out too much. We want to decorate what we're doing. We don't want it to overpower or be too obvious what we're trying to do here. And now let's move on here. We've got a couple of rhythmic things that we need to talk about. In measure 9, on the third beat, we have a triplet. We play 3 notes in one beat. So ta 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 ta, just like that. So we have to do 2, 2, 3, back to 2 in that bar. Okay, so it's going to be a little faster than the 2 8th notes, but not as fast as 4 16th notes. If we look ahead to bar 11, now we have to play 4 16th notes. So we have to be able to show that we can play quarter notes in time, we can play 8th notes in time, we can play triplets in time, and we can play 16th notes in time, okay? And then we have to go back to a triplet in measure 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got this triplet at the end of the bar as well. So we have to be able to keep a steady pulse. We want to be able to keep that heartbeat going. And we've been given a metronome marking of about 96. So not too slow, not too fast, something nice and comfortable. But we have to be able to keep that rhythm. So if you have a metronome or a metronome app on the internet or a device, use that. Put it on 96 and play with the clicks. And if you're playing 8th notes, it's 2 per click. If you're playing a triplet, it's 3 per click. If you're playing 16th notes, it's 4 per click. Okay? And let's go ahead to measure 15, where we make a long diminuendo on the C natural. So once again, we talked about how to make a diminuendo. We back off the amount of air, but we increase the speed of the air, and we engage the embouchure a little bit. And that's how we can make the sound get softer without affecting the intonation. We don't want to go flat as we make a diminuendo. We don't want to go sharp either. We want to keep the note right in tune. Okay, skipping ahead here, that's to measure 17, and we see the words crescendo poco a poco, which means to get louder little by little. So we think of this as 17 is one part of our crescendo, and then 18, 19 is another part of our crescendo, and then we continue on all the way to forte in the third to last bar. So in bar 16, we've got a piano. So let's keep that piano through 17, just a tiny crescendo. We don't want to do too much too soon. And then we've got 18 into 19, a little bit louder. And 17, 18, 19, 20 into 21, a little bit more louder. 22, a little bit more louder. But make sure that we don't get too loud too soon. We want that forte in the third to last bar, that is our real point of arrival for our dynamics. Okay, so it's a long dynamic, it's a long crescendo. We've got to be able to manage that. We don't want to be too loud too soon, and we don't want to just save it all the way to the very end. So we want a nice long crescendo there. If we do it correctly, it's very beautiful and it's very dramatic. And we do have those grace notes there again in bar 19, and so they come before the downbeat. We'll take them rhythmically from the third beat. So play the grace notes not too fast. Remember, we almost like they have syllables on them, like we could sing with them. Let's talk about intonation. This is in the key of C major. So if you have a tuner that can play a drone, you can put that on a C and have that C going and play with the drone, and you can stop and hold out every time you have a C and try to match what your tuner is doing. You can also put your tuner on the note G, so C or G, and that will help you to keep a nice relative pitch. So you're always coming back to a proper C or a G. So if we do all these things, we can show off all of our talents as a musician and an oboist. We can play with a beautiful tone. We can keep a steady, even, consistent pulse. We can play with accurate rhythm. We can play with very accurate pitch. And we can show off our ability to make these very long crescendos and diminuendos and these very striking dynamic contrasts. All of these things add to the beauty of what we're doing and make the music more interesting and more exciting to listen to. If you do all these things, I have no doubt that you will sound beautiful and you will do very well.